Rose Davidson explains why having a podcast will build authority and credibility for your business. Welcome to Get the Lead podcast, where we speak with business owners that can help you get the lead.
Hello everyone, welcome to Get the Lead podcast. I'm your podcast host, Marg Lange, and today I have Rose Davidson from Talking with the Experts, and we are so excited about having Rose on because she is our number one podcaster here in Australia, and we're going to be talking everything podcast. Welcome, Rose.
Hi, thanks, Marg. It's lovely to be here. Thank you.
Great. So, Rose, you know how you've been smashing it out of the park of late with those podcasts of yours. I'd just like to speak to you a little bit more about what is it about podcasts that gets you, because I talk about a lot in my lead generation, that you have to like somebody, know somebody, and trust somebody to be able to get that lead. So what is it about podcasting that helps assist the like, know, and trust?
Well, I think it's the basics of you get online, people can see your face because in Talking with the Experts, it's audio and visual. So when watching the videos on YouTube or on Facebook, they can see who the speaker is, so they can see by their face, facial expressions, tonality, all that sort of thing. And same as audio, I mean, you can tell by tonality whether you're going to like someone. I think you get to know them, I guess, by the subject that they're speaking about, if it's something that is of interest to you. And so that the like and trust and know things comes into knowing, well, not knowing the person, but being able to interact with them by, visuals or by audio because of the tone of their voice or by how they look or their facial expressions.
Yes, and given the fact that you call it Talking with the Experts, what does podcasting do in terms of positioning you as one?
It hasn't done a lot. I've got to say, for me personally, it hasn't done a lot, except for being an expert in podcasting. But in terms of anything else, it's helped more the people that I interview. So it's helped my guests, launch their book, launch their business, get more leads for their business, get more leads for their courses. So it helps. It helps my guests a lot more than it's helped me. But I must say that's the reason I started it in the first place. I started it in July 2020 when the pandemic was in its infancy, and I could see a lot of business owners were falling down. They were either closing their doors or just giving up altogether and just going out of business. And I thought, that's not right. There must be something that they can do to keep their business alive. There must be some strategies. There must be some hints and tips that other business owners could give. So I thought, well, why don't I start a podcast? And normally to start a podcast, it takes a while. It takes a lot. People take a lot of time to plan and do whatever. I didn't. It took me 2 weeks. So I had, a whole lot of guests lined up already. And I just used my laptop. I didn't use any fancy equipment. And I just went online and just did it. And my God, I ended up in 2 years, ranking 18th in New Zealand and 84th in Australia. And I can't believe that. It was just like amazing. And, I have to thank my guests for that because, part of coming on is that they share, amongst their network. So it must be working. And I've got some, really great testimonials on Apple. So I, can't thank my guests enough. But yeah, podcasting helps your business if you're a standalone podcaster. It gives you a chance to reach a wider audience. It gives you the chance to tell people what you're about, and that way you build up the know, like, trust factor, and it just, you can, share your courses, you can, and podcasting, it's not hard. It's really simple. You just need you can even use your phone for, for an example. It's really not difficult. It's just, you have to be brave.
Pick you up on there, because you just demonstrated that it has worked for you, because you are number 18
Yes.
and when you think about the and the testimonials you've got, and the fact that you're being now shared with other audiences of your network, it's definitely, to what the way I'm hearing, has been an amazing success for you. But I just wanted to ask you this question in terms of so let's supposing someone here who's listening today thinks, okay, so what I do is I get interviewed by Rose. Does she interview me once and then I get on her, like the ride of your success? Or do I have to do more than one podcast? Like, do you put all the podcasts that people do on your platform, which therefore creates a success? Or do they start their own? And if they start their own, how many do they have to do before they could say, hand on heart, they've got the trust to be able to consider, I have to do, say, 10 before I'm going to get possibly any form of interest in the like and the no trust factor?
Well, I've had guests on 2 or 3 times, usually because they're my favourites, because you do have favourite ones. But if they were to start their own, to get the know, like, trust thing, you've got to be consistent. So if you are going to say that you're going to be on a certain day, or you're going to go live a certain day, then you need to go live on that day at that time. If it's
you go live on podcasts,
you can do, yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, you can.
Wow. How does that work?
You just record it live, and it's uploaded to, usually you do it on Zoom, or you can do it on StreamYard or Ecamm if you're using a Mac, and Facebook, you can do it on live there. So it's not really a podcast, it's actually a vodcast. So vodcast is a video audio. But you can, on certain podcast channels, actually go live. I'm pretty sure you can go live on Apple, and you can go live on Podbean, I think. I'm not sure about the others because I've never tried to go live. I've only just done pre-recorded. I've lost my train of thought.
That's okay. I was just going to say, in terms of podcasting, then you said it took you 2 years to get to number 18. I'm curious as to how, okay, so we're talking about the like, know, and trust in one hand, and that we want to now bring people in, the leads in, to convert, to work with us. So what is the value of podcasting for that, and how do you do it?
Well, you need to advertise your services during the podcast, or if you're doing it by yourself, obviously you would promote yourself or your services or your next event or webinar or whatever it was. I personally haven't started doing that. It's my downfall that I haven't done that. That's why I don't have people coming to me to get my podcast services. But for other businesses, they are always promoting their book, their, a course. I always invite my guests to promote something, because it's primarily there for them to get more leads for their business. So that's how, how I've structured it. And that's why it's all pre-recorded, because if they make a mistake, we can just stop the recording and record again. So it's really done that way. But podcasting is a great way to get lead generation.
So I was just going to say, because people could argue that so do Facebook ads, or so do Google AdWords, or
podcasting is free. Google ads aren't free. Any ads aren't free. Podcasting is free.
But you said your time. But don't you have to advertise? Did you say?
No.
Oh, you mean advertise in the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh,
self-advertise.
Right, got it. Okay. All right. So given the fact that from what my understanding is that still images, people, how there's always been the videos have to be, what was it? 2 years ago, it used to be 1 minute. Then it used to
Oh,
be
yes,
30
yeah.
seconds. Then it was 2 minutes. In terms of podcasting, obviously it's going to be a longer, because people say, oh, they don't have the attention span. What are you finding in the podcasting space in terms of people actually, like, can you track how long someone's been on? Oh,
Yes.
you can.
I only upload the short, so I actually create a short 31 minute, a 1 minute short, or 1 minute and a half. So it gives a sort of a snippet of what the interview's about, and that's the only thing that I upload to Facebook. I upload the whole episode up to YouTube, and the podcast is the total audio of the interview where I upload to my channels, and gets distributed from Podbean. They distribute it out to Apple and Google and several other podcast channels. So that's how you get your distribution. You don't have to actually upload to every single podcast channel that's out there. You can get it distributed for you, basically.
Do you know what I like about the podcast thing?
That's it.
I like the fact that because I was going to say podcast or video, Rose, which one? And I know you're going to say podcast. But what I like the best is the fact that there's more meat on the bone in a podcast. In a video, it's sort of like, it's sort of like you're looking at the camera and it's like, and you're like that, because you're conscious that everyone's going to switch off and you've got to capture them in the first few minutes. And what I loved about what you said is you could take a little snippet, like that piece of gold, and use that as the video.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I do all my own editing at the moment. I haven't found anyone that I trust to do the editing, because I have my own style and the things that I like to put into it. That's where my podcast production services come into it, because a lot of people are happy to do the recording, but it's the editing afterwards that they're not very sure of, because they're not tech savvy, and they just feel it's really overwhelming to have to edit and do the show notes and all that other thing. But either I can teach them how to be a podcaster, or I can do it for them. Either way, because I just love what I do. I think it's better than sitting doing admin work and all that sort of stuff, which is how I started. I found this medium by chance. It was an epiphany, as I said. I had it up and running in 2 weeks, had my logo done and everything, and I have loved every minute of the 2 years that I've been doing it. And I'm just about to start a radio station. So, and I've had lots of interest in people being on the radio station. So it's going to be called Talking with the Experts Radio.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking with the program team in a couple of weeks' time to find out exactly how it all works. And
cool.
so it's an online radio. It's not like 2GB or Triple M or any of those kinds of stations. It's not like that. It's an online station. So it's very similar to podcasting, which I love. I mean, I hate doing Facebook Lives. I just dislike them immensely, but I can do interviews and I can do podcasting. But yeah, get me on a Facebook Live by myself, don't worry, I can't do it.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, for those people who are introverted, or they're possibly scared of being in front of a camera, unlike your host, who enjoys being on the camera. But for those who don't, I reckon podcasting is the way to go. And that's why I'm sure that I had you on my Get the Lead team, to have the option for those who say, I just can't do podcasting. And can I just say, did we have a script here today, Rose?
No.
Do we have questions?
No.
Does it sound, well, I think it sounds natural to me, and this is just how easy it is. So how, so it's a matter of people who would like to have you do it for them. You can do that, as well as obviously assist them in teaching them how to do it. How can they find you to make an inquiry regarding either of those two services?
Well, at the moment, they can find me at rose-davidson.com, but soon they'll be able to find me on www.davidson howtogetthelead.today. Under podcast
perfect.
services.
Absolutely. I really, really enjoyed today's chat, and I would actually like to, I always like to, finish off with one gold nugget that you can think of in relation to why should people really consider in 2022 and beyond podcasting?
Well, there are over 2 million podcasts in the world, and there's over 48 million episodes. And, people get heaps of business from podcasting. Because they promote themselves, they promote their businesses. It's not hard. If I can do it with no experience whatsoever, it's easy as, you just need to do the know-how, have the know-how how to do it. But it is really, really simple. And, my saying is, don't wait for an opportunity, create it.
Yeah, I agree. I love that. And you know what? It's a bit like Clubhouse, isn't it? Listen to the conversations.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
But, people are, one business owner will listen to at least 2 podcasts a week, at least. And, if you can get into their space, and on their playlist, they'll listen to you forever, because you bring value to their life. Yeah. And I'm sure that's what my podcast does. I've been told it does. It's brought value to a lot of people who were looking, or feeling challenged, I guess, with, their business. And so they've listened to an episode of someone that's had something to say about, what their challenge was. And, they've either followed them up with and become a client of theirs, or, the information that they were given through the podcast has helped them with their business.
Perfect. Love it. Well, thanks again for your time today, Rose. And,
thanks, Mark.
And let's ensure that we get you more podcasts on the go for your radio station.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us at Get the Lead podcast. We look forward to your company next time, where we help you get the lead.